Kept you waiting, huh?
The voice of Big Boss has been a hot topic for nearly 2 decades. When Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain dropped, fans were a bit furious. At least many were. How could you replace David Hayter, the iconic voice of Snake, with Kiefer Sutherland? But what if this change was more than just a creative decision? Today, we're diving deep into the theory that might finally explain why Big Boss's voice had to evolve. And trust me, it's not just about creative celebrity casting. Hey, Magnus here. I talk about video games or classic series that come back to life, and also anything that I might find new and relevant in the gaming industry, as well as keeping up to date on Shenmue. So if you're one of those Shenmue fans, welcome as well. But another one of my favorite video game series of all time is Metal Gear Solid. Now, if you're a Metal Gear fan like me, you've probably spent countless hours unraveling the mysteries and hidden details that Hideo Kojima loves to bury in these games. I've been a fan since the original Metal Gear on the NES, but it was Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation in 1998 that really hooked me into the lore. And today, we're talking about one of the most controversial topics in the series, the voice change of Big Boss. Now let's rewind a bit and set the stage. Back in 2004, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater introduced us to Naked Snake, the man who would become Big Boss. The surprising part? He was voiced by David Hayter, the same actor who voiced Solid Snake, his clone. This made sense in the story, but it set the stage for some major confusion later on. Fast forward to Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and we see Big Boss again, but this time, he's voiced by someone else.
Let it go.
Meanwhile, Solid Snake is still voiced by David Hayter.
Big Boss.
So what gives? Why did Big Boss's voice change? Or how? Now here's where things start to pick up and get really interesting. After Metal Gear Solid 4, we got 3 more games that delved deeper into Big Boss's story. Peace Walker, Ground Zeroes, and The Phantom Pain. In Peace Walker, Hayter returned as the voice of Naked Snake, keeping fans comfortable with the continuity.
The cargo. Where's it headed? What is it? Air suit. In the mountains. What's up there?
But then, just before the release of Ground Zeroes, it was announced that Kiefer Sutherland would play the role of Big Boss. The reaction? Let's just say many longtime Metal Gear Solid fans weren't exactly happy. But here's the thing, if you know Kojima, you know that he never makes these decisions lightly. So, what if there's a deeper storyline reason behind this change? Let's start with the most obvious question. Why does Big Boss's voice change in Metal Gear Solid 5? Just why? To answer that, we need to look at who we're really playing as in this game. And here's a twist. And of course, this video is extremely spoiler heavy, so if you hadn't played these games, then definitely don't watch this video until you do, or at least watch through YouTube. Then come back here so that I can help translate what the heck is going on. So anyway, why does Big Boss's voice change in Metal Gear Solid 5? To answer that, we need to look at who we're really playing as in this game. And here's the main twist. You're not actually playing as the real Big Boss. You're playing as Venom Snake, a body double who was the medic from Ground Zeroes. His sense of reality is heavily distorted due to the trauma of the helicopter crash, the extensive surgery to make him look like Big Boss, and the memories implanted in him during his 9-year coma. Now this warped sense of reality is our first big clue. Remember that surreal moment when a giant whale swallows a helicopter early in The Phantom Pain? That's not just some random trippy scene. It's a major hint that Venom Snake's perception of the world is unreliable. So naturally, Venom Snake sounds different. He's not Big Boss. He's a man who's been manipulated into believing he is. But this still leaves us with another question. Why does the real Big Boss also sound like Kiefer Sutherland in Ground Zeroes.
I got Chico.
And Boss,
Not here.
are you sure?
Pretty sure.
And this is where we're going to get a little bit deeper into it. I believe that the events of Ground Zeroes, as we experience them, aren't entirely real. They're memories implanted in Venom Snake's mind by Cypher to convince him that he's Big Boss. The continuous single camera style of the game's cutscenes isn't just a creative choice. It's a subtle way of indicating that what we're seeing is a manufactured reality. It's almost like we're getting like a first-person perspective view watching these events unfold. And you know those occasional digital glitches that appear on screen during that game? Those are clues that what we're witnessing has been altered or manipulated, almost like someone's editing the memory as it plays out. Now you might be wondering, if this is all a memory implant, why doesn't someone like Ocelot notice the difference? Well, here's the thing. Ocelot knew exactly who Venom Snake was all along. He was in on the secret, working with Cypher to maintain the illusion that Venom Snake was Big Boss. Ocelot's role wasn't just as an ally, he was also a key player in keeping the deception alive. That's why Ocelot doesn't react to the voice change. He's part of the plan to keep Venom in the dark, and by extension, keep the player guessing. But what about Kazuhira Miller, who was incredibly close to Big Boss? How did he not notice the voice change? The answer lies in the context of their reunion. When Venom Snake rescues Miller early in the Phantom Pain, Miller has just been through hell. He's been beaten, tortured, and lost both his arm and leg. He's physically and mentally shattered, not in a state to be questioning details like voice tone. And remember, it's been 9 years since he last saw Big Boss. Combine that with Miller's intensive drive for revenge and his desperate need to believe in Big Boss's return, and it's easier to see why he might accept Venom Snake as the real Snake without question. But what about Big Boss in the Phantom Pain's Truth chapter?
The woman? We gave her a light. She took the short way down. Aren't you forgetting something?
Why does he still sound like Kiefer Sutherland? This is where things get even a little bit more complex. I believe that Big Boss himself underwent surgery to alter his voice, making it harder for anyone to recognize him. This isn't just about changing his identity, it's about ensuring that even those closest to him wouldn't suspect the switch. Remember, Big Boss was a master strategist, always thinking several steps ahead. Altering his voice would be a natural move to further distance himself from his former identity. Taking that point even further, we'll fast forward to Metal Gear Solid 4. By that point, Big Boss's voice has changed again. But why?
It all began with a bunch of old fools. Now, they've all passed away.
Simple. Because that's not entirely Big Boss's body. After all of the events that took place in MGS4, his body was reconstructed using parts of Solidus, another clone of Big Boss. This patchwork reconstruction, along with the natural decay of time and the rigors of being brought back to life, likely affected his voice once more. It's a fitting end to a character whose identity has been in flux throughout the entire series. So there you have it. A theory that ties together the many voice changes of Big Boss throughout the Metal Gear series. It's not a perfect explanation, but it's one that makes sense when you consider the complex narrative Kojima has woven over the years. Big Boss's voice wasn't just changed for the sake of change. It was a deliberate decision tied to the themes of identity, deception, and the blurred lines between reality and memory. But what do you think? Does this theory hold up? Or do you have another explanation for Big Boss's constantly evolving voice? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, as always, you can make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. See you guys next time, and thanks for watching.